Hi, I'm Andy and welcome to Vectra News, your fill of gaming news for the 5th of July 2014. Coming up in this week's episode, a Finnish Hearthstone tournament bans female competitors, Rebellion invokes 7050 Sniper Elite 3 keys, the ASA rules that Dungeon Keeper ads are misleading, Airtight Games closes weeks after releasing its latest game, Murdered Soul Suspect, and DualShock 4 controllers will now work wirelessly for PS3s. This week, a tournament led by the Finnish Assembly said that it would not allow female entrants to compete in the Hearthstone games. The tournament itself is part of an ongoing qualifiers leading to the International Esports Federation, or IESF, World Championship Tournament, which is being held in November this year. The head of admin for the Assembly's Summer Hearthstone qualifier, Markus Kiskarilla, confirmed this to PC Gamer, saying that, in accordance with the IESF tournament regulations, since the main tournament event is open to male players only, this is to avoid possible conflicts. For example, a female player eliminating a male player during the RO8, among other things. He argued that by allowing females to enter the qualifier, there would be a risk that the winner wouldn't be eligible to enter the IESF's World Championship final. The IESF's aim is to promote esports as a true sport, and like the majority of sports, they are divided into male and female categories. Male competitors were able to compete in Dota 2, StarCraft 2, Hearthstone and Ultra Street Fighter 2, with female competitors having StarCraft 2 and Tekken Tag Tournament 2. Now, the main reason that sports get divided into male and female categories is generally due to physical capabilities, with the main difference generally being muscular strength and endurance. These two traits hardly come into consideration when you're playing a video game. This segregation was later removed, with the IESF stating that their gender division policy was never meant to be sexist. On the 2nd of July 2014, the IESF's policy about gender division, which separates the female division and the male division, has been brought into question. The IESF has listened to the gaming community and carefully considered their options. Upon hearing these concerns, the IESF invoked an emergency session of the IESF board to respond. As a result, IESF shall have two event categories, open for all events, and events that are now reserved for women. The events which were initially set aside for the male division will now be open to all genders, and the events which were initially set as the female division will remain as they were. They justified this retention of the female-only category by citing the importance of females in the esports industry, as it is fairly male-dominated at the moment. We'd be interested to see what your views of this are. Do you reckon there should still be a female-only category, or do you think an open-for-all category is fair enough? Last weekend, many players of Sniper Elite 3 found their copies of the game had stopped working on Steam. These players all had one thing in common: they had purchased their copy through third-party sites. Rebellion confirmed that over 7,000 keys had been revoked after being stolen and then resold on without authorization. Rebellion also confirmed that keys bought from their licensed partners were okay. This list comprises of sites like Amazon, Gamersgate, Greenman Gaming, and the Humble Store. These stolen keys were then sold on to multiple companies, meaning that neither Valve or Rebellion saw any money from the sales. As a gesture of goodwill, Rebellion offered the DLC Target Hitler, which was only available for pre-orders, free to anyone affected, giving them until the 4th of July to claim it, although a genuine copy of the game was needed to access the DLC. Obviously, people have been getting irate over losing access to their game, and some are targeting their hate at Rebellion, with some coining this as a ruse. However, legally speaking, if someone buys stolen goods, these goods still technically belong to the original owner, and the payee has no legal right over them. They simply get given back to the original owner. Rebellion therefore has no obligation to honour these keys at all. In fact, offering anything in compensation is fairly generous on their behalf. Although this offer could be seen as a way to try and convert these gamers buying games off of third-party sites into full paying customers, this could just result in 7,000 more pirated copies of Sniper Elite 3. But surely in this situation, the site that sold the key would be the one to go back to, as they had your money and they would be the one that would be able to issue a refund, as the publisher had nothing to do with the sale. Questions regarding where these third-party sites are getting some game keys from have been raised. Recently, Devolver Digital also stopped supporting keys from one of the popular sites, G2A, whose site says the mission is to provide the best digital game licenses and retail services to all our partners and customers. Devolver's views were that the keys were not legitimate, are not guaranteed, are not supported. They also stated that they were cancelling any of those keys actively. Now, I'm not saying all of these sites steal their keys from others, and it's not actually illegal to buy keys from these third-party sites either. However, it's not always obvious if you're going to get stung, and you may end up without a game at all. The one way to be sure is to buy them from a genuine seller. The Advertising Standards Authority, the ASA, the agency in charge of regulating ads in the UK, has banned EA from advertising the mobile reboot of Dungeon Keeper as a free game. Back in February of this year, we reported that the reboot of the game slowed progress down to a crawl, which could be sped up again by purchasing in-game currency. A complainant wrote to the ASA saying that the ads for Dungeon Keeper were misleading as it admitted significant information, and commented that the gameplay was seriously limited unless in-app purchases were made. Although EA stated that in their view they had not misled or omitted information at all from the ad, and the game was in fact available to download for free and in-game purchases were not needed, the ASA concluded that, from the information available in the ad, players would expect the gameplay progression and their ability to advance to be unhindered by unexpected and excessively onerous delays. And we therefore considered that the length and frequency of these countdown events was beyond that which could be reasonably expected by players. Interestingly, the ASA didn't mention anything about the game being branded as a free-to-play game, and this begs me to ask whether this tag will stick around even on these premium free-to-play games. I would also have to stress that this is only in the UK, and other countries around the world are still able to advertise Dungeon Keeper as a free game. Maybe this will change in the future. Airtight Games has closed just weeks after releasing its latest game, Murdered Soul Suspect, which received lukewarm reviews. The news came after a visit by an employee of GeekWire who visited their headquarters in Washington to find the place closed with a sale sign on the outside. Airtight's closure was effectively confirmed via Twitter, with their account saying, "Thanks to all the fans, family, friends and colleagues who supported us and made the last 10 years possible." They then followed this up to, "Thanks to all the amazing people that worked on Dark Void, Quantum Conundrum, Murdered, Sulphur-Jawed, Plexed and Dirt Bike." Founded in 2004, Airtight Games made several games for PC, mobile and console platforms, including the Quantum Conundrum, a puzzle game which I personally enjoyed, and Sulphur-Jawed for the Ouya, before jumping back to PC and consoles for Murdered Soul Suspect. Back in April, IGN reported that 14 staff members had been laid off due to restructuring. This happened around the same time that the former studio creative director Kim Swift, who was best known for her work on Portal, left the studios too. It's a shame to see yet another studio close, and we do wish all the employees every luck in the future to finding a new job within the industry. As a brief final piece of news, the PlayStation 3 can now support the DualShock 4 controller wirelessly. In order to get it to work, you'll need to plug your DualShock 4 via USB, go to accessory settings and manage Bluetooth devices, scan for a Bluetooth device, unplug the DualShock 4, press the share and the PS buttons simultaneously, and then the PlayStation 3 will find it and set it as a wireless controller. Although it's probably not the time to throw away all your DualShock 3s, as the DualShock 4 features such as rumble and motion control won't work along with the PlayStation 4 specific editions like the touchpad. This has however made a few people in the gaming industry happy, as they can play the greatly improved DualShock 4 controller on their PS3. But that's all from Vectra News this week. Don't forget to like, favourite, subscribe, follow us on Twitter and check out vectranews.co.uk to keep up to date with everything on the network. And as always, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.